gonna try
This is Bear Dynamic DT 770 Pro something. I got this because I need to listen to the finest like this of your production.
I just ask you to say who you are and where you are right now.
Okay. Tell me where to look.
You can look at me.
Okay, cool. So, my name is Raphael Karaoke Mogo. In this situation and many situations like this, DJ Raph. From Nairobi, Kenya, East Africa, and like I don't know what else. What else? Right now, I mean, I don't know what I call this place, but I know it's a Santuri space. Is it at the Kraal? It's somewhere in Nairobi, but I'm here because I once got a call from Santuri and we met, and it was a good conversation. Yeah.
Awesome. I was gonna ask you about the synth. Like, how did you get into music? Like, in the beginning, before you were doing what you're doing now. You played music in college, I think, for the first time?
I recorded music in college for the first time, but what do I say? I don't know if anyone who makes music knows when they started, because like every human being listens to music as part of their being, whatever, and then some of us decide, what if I made music? So I can't tell when that moment happened where I was like, not just appreciating music, because we all do, but thinking about making music. But I can tell you that whenever that moment was, or however that process was, the one thing that is still kind of like bugging me about what you asked is, I really cannot make music. Like, yes, I was taught keyboard. I come from a preacher's family. My dad is a pastor. Look, we've had enough beef about all that shit, but Dad, I love you, wherever you are. If you show that, if you don't, it's cool. But the thing is, I had to learn music as a kid, because music is part of what makes our church and stuff, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to be part of the church, and I didn't want to learn how to play blah blah blah. So like I would be put in these situations where like when I'm like 11, 12, 13 and I'm put in front and I have to play the keyboard for the choir, and that really made me like have this really super antagonistic relationship with learning how to play music. But I'd be locked in my room, not locked, like literally locked, but at a time when my dad was starting his church, our house was so small that the musical, like the church sound system would be in my room, and I was expected to be using the keyboard to advance, like, oh, C, do-do-do, 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 and like, know your chords, but I didn't. Instead, I was trying to figure out how to program the keyboard, because I realized that, you can also make other sounds with it, not just da-da-da. And so when I was supposed to be learning how to play music for my dad's church, instead I was teaching myself how to program a sequencer and how to change like resonance and whatever's on a synthesizer. So I gave up on learning what I was supposed to, but I used the equipment that I had at my disposal to learn just how to fuck with music and sounds, and I guess that's the beginning. Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the EP CITYSYNTHESIS, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Maybe after you listen to it, we might figure out what to ask about it. Because after all, in our conversations, we've talked enough about how it was made. Yeah? So here we go. Our first track is called Pulpit. Yeah? Twende. Please play. That's the first track. It's called Pulpit. In the course of doing all these recordings, you come across a lot of religious
Preachers.
yeah, exactly, all these preachers and churches doing all these open air events. So it's called Pulpit because this one was, we took a bunch of different recordings of those moments. One thing you notice is, okay, first of all, they are the only thing that's allowed. They're the only group that's allowed to set up a sound system somewhere and blast it at people. When it's religious, it's somehow above the law or has a different whatever. But also even the sound quality of all this they're called crusades, yeah? Crusades. I'm a preacher's kid and I have participated in some as a nini, and they always have the same sound, somehow there's a lot of feedback, and the preacher is always super loud, and also even how the preachers talk is super aggressive, and then they have this moment where they are supposed to we're supposed to be more getting into this zone, and so the music changes and becomes da da da. So that was just a comment on that. Maybe it's relevant to say that all this in this EP there's no synths, no nothing, no musical instruments. All the music is from exactly. So the main technique we used is pitch tracking. You try and identify the main pitch of a sound, and then you use that as a basis to manipulate it. Except with field recordings, you can do very pitch tracking makes sense if you're tracking an instrument or someone singing or so on. But if you're doing something like a recording of a market with people screaming, it will be you simply cannot find a main pitch. So you just do this thing where you sweep the pitch tracker through, and you use one pitch and use another and another and another. Like, it's not musically like correct. So you play with the different like mishmashes of whatever it sounds like, but it's using pitch tracking the way it's not supposed to be used, because it's normally used to find like the key of a sample or whatever, blah blah blah. But you really cannot find the key of traffic when there's all sorts of shit going on. But just going through all that process, looking for what you can do with the sound that still comes to us, and yeah. So we'll go to the next track. You guys don't, this is not homework. I think I was nervous at the beginning, but you guys might be the ones who have more work than me by having to listen. But the second one is, there's this time we were with Kamwangi in Westlands. We were drinking kibao, or what, I don't know what it was we were drinking behind on that kachochoro. And this guy came and sat next to us and started talking and talking and talking and couldn't stop. You remember? Yeah. And he just came at the right time, because we'd been struggling with, we had this idea to do a track that had not vocals, but not vocals like just the sound of vocals, but also like some meaning. Like, all the music is abstract, but we wanted to do one track that had where like it had lyrics. For example, it had a hook, a chorus or whatever, because everything else we're doing is just sounds. So we were trying to like go through every sound that we found that had words, intelligible words, and try and like piece them together to make some sort of lyrics. But you might find the words and try and make a phrase of 3 words, 4 words, but you could never make a sentence.
You're trying to make like lyrics with the words.
Yeah, with found words, not just found sound, except the words were always coming from such different contexts and backgrounds that even if you manage to make like a phrase of, I mean, not even, you couldn't make a phrase like a proper sentence. But even what you made with the few words you could get, the sounds were so unmatched. Like, one is too loud, one is distant, one like it wasn't working, and you were like going through this whole thing. And one day, like on that moment I'm describing, when we sat with Kamwangi at this car place behind Alchemist, this guy comes and sits and he starts talking, giving us like life advice and inspiration and stuff. And like, thank you. So like, I even have like the field recorder, like the proper recorder. So all I had was the phone. So like in chini ya maji, like just turn on the recorder and like we're talking, and he just goes on and put the mic as close as possible to him without him noticing. And he actually gave us, yes, what turned out to be this, which is track number 2, Sitaki Kuongea Mob. Means, Davey, I don't think you know Swa. Justin, I don't know how good your Swa is, but Sitaki Kuongea Mob, I don't say too much. Like, yeah, that's what he's saying. Like, Sitaki Kuongea Mob. I don't do. Yeah. I'm sure there's a better way to translate it, but the funny thing is he says Sitaki Kuongea Mob once, but then he talks for so long. So we used that as the hook. Like, it keeps like recurring. Sitaki Kuongea Mob, or Sitaki Kuongea Sana, or whatever. But yeah. Please play. Let's go. Okay, here we go.
Organize life yako. Atakaa ulikuwa chini, unaweza kama kitawala tushikane sasa hivi. Unaweza chukua tu and think about it. Mimi kunywa mimi nakunywa kibao. Nilikuwa nakunywa kibao kimix tafaka. What's your strength? What's your weakness? Nana? Wajua ile brana umefanya, wanaojaribu usifanye hiyo brana tena. Ujue mabeshte wale utatoa kwa life yako, mabeshte wale utakip. Ujue vile utasonga mbele. Najua? What coming? Nana? Atakaa uko na dua au atakaa huyu jamaa ndio anaweza kuokolea. Beshte yako. Umesema juu yake. Una principle in life. Na mimi kitu kingine naweza kuambia, Mungu anatupenda. Because ni watu wangapi wamekufa 2020 hata mpaka saa hizi na corona hata na zingine kwa life. Just sometimes nadhani kidogo ndio inafanya solution of our life. Unakuja unapata do. Kipata do. Unapata pale uko na ile shule ya unayo basa mbele. Kwa saumu. Mimi naweka Mungu mbele. Na muamini. Na shida ni tambushisha na wewe mtu hata ile kusema huyu jamaa ameibudia amefanya nini strategy is open to nageta na mabeshti wako ni wote. Unaona? Hata ifu yako anajuanga uko na mabeshti wengi. Anything? Because one day, one time, sieto wananidu. Mimi naombanga wasinimiti. Awa nisiwaniti. They need me. Naona? Lakini si pesa. Naona? Most money. Money comes and goes. Hautaikosa pesa kila wakati na hautaikuwa nayo kila wakati. Usitake pesa itamani. Wacha Mungu. And you never be perfect. Na ukielewa hiyo situation, wacha God, you never be. Na because every day is a learning day. Do your best. Kani wera fanya your best. Nika leo nimeenda nikachapa wera nikapata hiyo. Right? tutoke hapo. Kama mbaya. Naitai na stress kitu poa. Na kila mtu anapitia, unaona hii time ya COVID, kila mtu ako na issues zake. Naitai so isikumane, jaribu kumanage.
We go to the next one. We had a version of this that had okay, the rhythm is coming from like guys banging matatu sides. We had a version where we made the matatu bangings like really thumpy, but then we felt like it took away from the whole vibe of like making the EP like one whole thing. Where we're hoping like the EP is like more like meditative somehow. Like, could you meditate on the noise of Nairobi? And when we made the matatu like dum 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 thumpy, it kinda was taking us into a place where now we starting to expect it to sound like what we know music to be. But for this to be what it is, it has to remain outside of for better or worse. It may fail because of that, may succeed because of that, but it has to remain true to something. So yeah, I could play the thumpy one, but it's not really necessary. Plus we have even worse music coming up. So like so we go to number 3. It's 4 minutes 11 seconds long. It's called Trio. This one was simply an aesthetic like experiment. It sounds very similar to the first one, but I'll leave you to judge. We call it Trio because we found this woman preacher. That's why the similarity with the first one. Like on this one, like I just stumbled upon an interesting effect when doubling her voice but on different channels, and then putting different effects on the channel, and then decided, okay, why not triple her voice, but on each of the 3 channels put a different like effect. And that's why we call it Trio, but it's just this lady you'll hear, and I don't know. I don't know if this qualifies as it's music-ish. Is it music? I don't know. So, yeah, good. Let's go. So, twende. This is Trio number 3. That's trio, and I'll let the last one just play on its own, and we can talk about it after if we need to. So, aye. It's called traffic jazz, at least. So, aye.
zote ni mbaya mbaya, lakini inakaa kama ni ya mawe. Hapo ndio bombo. Kuna mitungi mingi ya keki, distributors wa keki. Hii ni ya bombo, kuna faulu. Actually hata wasipokufikisha hapo, gari inaenda mpaka pale inafika mwisho. So ukiona kama gari imefika mwisho na watu wanasema mwisho, na kwa sasa unawaambia wewe huko unajua bombo ni watu wakufikishe bombo.
boys, that's cool, and we're done. That's CITYSYNTHESIS. Thank you for listening. Now everyone go home. But yeah, that's basically it.
Man, congrats. That's beautiful, though. That's really special.
Cheers. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And yeah, it's also going to be like available to remix in whatever way, like conventionally or whatever. But there it is, like yeah.
Yeah. Congrats, man.
It was mostly like an experiment in the full meaning of experiment. Like, what will happen if we did this? What would it sound like? What would it be received like? Whatever. But after that, wherever it goes, like we can use it for samples. We can use it as in yeah. But that's it basically. Yeah.
Amazing. But you told me it was going to be a conceptual album.
So is it?
Yeah.
Is it conceptual?
Very fucking
Dude.
It's really cool.
You guy?
No. Random question,
Yeah.
really to decide what was the first piece of music equipment that you owned? And what is
Owned.
favorite? Yeah, and what is your favorite piece of equipment that you own now?
Oh, god damn. This, going back to the story of relationship with my dad and my folks as preachers, once, and this was like much later, I was out of college, I had a job, I had an income, and I could tell my dad, no, I don't, like dude, I had an Insonic sampler, I had a Yamaha DX7, like, and I didn't use them because I was expected to use them in a certain way. But when I got a job and I got my own like little money, and my dad is this like, you know, this the Kenyan Christian scene, the preachers keep traveling, and finally one day I was like, no dad, no, don't bring me another thing. Okay, he wasn't going to because I was already out of his house, but then I sent him for a piece of equipment, and this was it, the Noland SP555, and I love.
Is that the one?
This is it. There's no way of using this, so it's not like if we're gonna have fun with it, but it's not like that's how you're supposed to or not supposed to. Yeah. We'll just do what this afternoon feels like, except it's not an afternoon for me without this motherfucker.
What do you mean when you say there's no good way or right way or wrong way to use it?
Okay, let me
Make your life a television show. Worse than that, make your life put together a kind of personal brand narrative. It's just your preferences and your... I think that's...
Those just happen to be samples I recorded from my YouTube like documentary. You have all these banks. Ayub Ogada, Kodbiru. Who says you're supposed to record Kodbiru or YouTube? Are you supposed to? I don't know, but dude, with this thing, like I'm just going around. This is FM radio. I don't even remember when this was.
There's all sorts of different settings where there's water, including lagoons.
Dude, this thing, I can play. I can like put FM radio as part of my set, and then it doesn't have like all the sophistication of Ableton, of where if I sample something, it comes into time in the same like rhythm. I mean the same tempo. So like it will come on its own, and then it will be up to me to try and figure out. Dude, I don't know how to explain it. This is not a system that this is like it's like a body organ, like just bring in sound signals, and then as you're making them, decide what to do with them. Like there's a time I used to call myself maybe DJ Raph, like maybe, because okay, it was based on like so many other things, but one of them was, really, you think I was not confident enough to call myself a DJ. But even by the time I became like maybe DJ Raph, I'd been doing I was just about to do this and had to stop myself. I had been doing music because I for a long fucking time, like I was making beats and stuff on tapes and stuff, but I was never confident enough to say like I make music. So like I'll see my friends doing similar things, but they had better understandings of things and they make music, and me I was like the guy around, hovering around them, like, yeah, let me do this, let me do that, but I cannot call myself a musician. And even to this day, I don't want anyone to call me a musician. Don't say I make music. Just let's just hear what I'm doing and what other people are doing, and let's deal with that. But yeah. It's still a big deal in my head, like, and not just in music, but in almost everything I do. Somehow, I don't know, I'm nearly turning 40, homie, and all these things I do that I'm not sure if I qualify to do is what my life is based on. So let's go. Yeah.